Welcome to 3 Count Commentaries. Today we're going to talk about Dave Meltzer being consistent. Usually the world's #1 hypocrite. He's actually remarkably consistent on this. And some people don't like it, so we're going to talk about it. First, what are we talking about here? Well, Dave Meltzer has criticized Tony Khan's booking. He criticizing Tony Khan booking Sammy Guevara to do a job for Shelton Benjamin. This match has not happened yet, but it's more than likely the way that it will go, as Shelton Benjamin is being built up for a match with Swerve Strickland. So, Dave Meltzer went on to Wrestling Observer Radio to criticize this booking decision, as he doesn't think that AEW is doing the right thing by having so many of their older guys go over so many of their younger guys. Oh, my bad. Let's see what we got here. Let's see if we get the audio.
Shelton Benjamin, Sammy Guevara thing. I get it. I get it. You know, Shelton Benjamin needs a big win going into the Swerve match. Sammy's a good wrestler. In theory, it reminds me of Val Venus and Christopher Daniels when in the days of TNA, where, when Bischoff came in and he brought in all these washed up WWE guys and had them beat the top, their guys, because they've all been on TV. They have more TV time, so therefore they're bigger stars because they had, were.
Let's pause it right here. This is not the same. I would not equate Christopher Daniels and his position in TNA at the time with Sammy Guevara in his position in AEW right now. Sammy Guevara has not been featured on. Didn't Sammy Guevara just do a job for somebody who is not Shelton Benjamin not too long ago? Look, Sammy Guevara is he a younger guy than Shelton Benjamin? Yeah, Shelton Benjamin is 50. But when you compare the stature of the performers, no, it's not the same at all. It's not nearly the same. But I get where he's coming from, because they did something similar in TNA with Orlando Jordan, and they've done it with some other guys too, where they'll just come in and just have them beat a bunch of their top TNA guys. I mean, Samoa Joe was the biggest example of that. When Kurt Angle came in, he immediately beat Samoa Joe, which, to be quite honest, wasn't bad for Joe because it's fucking Kurt Angle. And then also he beat Kurt Angle in the next match. But it's just a general idea that you don't want the audience to see or get the idea that you're not investing in the young talent, because then they don't invest in the young talent. So I understand, and I actually agree with that in theory. But I would not equate Sammy Guevara with Christopher Daniels. I just wouldn't equate that.
But there is a purpose. And Sammy, one loss by Sammy Guevara, which I'm assuming happens, maybe he wins, but I seriously doubt it. That doesn't kill him or anything like that. But as a general rule, in the right direction. But for this one time, the big thing is to get Shelton Benjamin ready for Swerve. That's the goal for right now. So he should win, and he should win over somebody good. So I get it. But
wait a minute, he should get a win over somebody good? So that would imply that Sammy Guevara is good. No, Sammy Guevara sucks.
It's Shelton Benjamin, and
he can do flips, but what else? Have you listened to Sammy Guevara talk? That was not a rhetorical question. Have you listened to Sammy Guevara talk? Where's my stars? Have you ever listened to Sammy Guevara talk? Will they please stop being flip-brained? Who cares about his ability to do flips?
He looks, physically he looks good and all, but it's going down the wrong path. Shelton.
Okay, so now a lot of AEW fans, because they're in the cult, we have now flip sides where, 3 or 4 years ago, WWE was defending having guys like Edge and Randy Orton, who are, a little bit older on their roster. Now the AEW roster is getting older, and Meltzer is at least being consistent. There's a previous video on this channel discussing Meltzer talking about age. And I disagree with him on one aspect when he tried to equate having a certain number of wrestlers under a certain age bracket, but I think 30 was the list, and that equating to having a certain number of fans under that age. So the idea being that if you have the average age of your product is 30, then the average age of your audience would be 30. That has never worked. I've never seen that anywhere, ever. So I disagree with that. But generally speaking, I do think that certain guys are not worth pushing once they hit a certain age, that their job should be to put over others. In this specific situation, however, we know that Jeff Shelton is going to go over on somebody. He's going to go over Leo and Sammy, and he's going to lose to Swerve. That's simple storytelling. Putting him in there with smaller guys who can take bumps is also smart because it makes Shelton look strong. It makes Shelton look big. So it's even more impressive when Swerve beats him. But that's the thinking of when you're watching the product and you're buying into the illusion of the product. AEW's product is so wide open. It's so, this is bullshit. It's so, you know how wrestling is. It's for the sickos. It's for the smallest possible audience. They already know this is why you're doing what you're doing. And they're bored by it. But now, back to my original point. A lot of the sickos are upset because now they're saying, hey, leave Shelton alone. We love Shelton. Leave him alone. It's here's one of the responses. Dave Meltzer, don't you ever compare Shelton Benjamin to Val Venus again. I get why he said that, but come on. Here's another one. Shelton is in the best shape of his life, and most of us, quote, young dudes, is half his size. Still, hop off our nuts and just shut up and type dweeb. That's amazing. That's amazing. Call him a dweeb. I love that. Are you fucking kidding? It's all about how good the talent is. And Shelton is a really good talent. And he's no fucking Val Venus. Why are we comparing that? Here's another good one. Actually, Dave, Sammy Guevara should lose to everyone. Old, young, don't matter. It would be. I thought Sammy Guevara was hurt for starters, but look, Sammy sucks. I'm going to really carry the torch on that. I'm not a Sammy Guevara guy, but also for the record, and I think this should be noted, AEW is focused on their young guys. And what I mean by that is one of the people that they're pushing is Daniel Garcia. Another guy that they continuously push is MJF. Both of those guys are under the age of 30, if I remember correctly. And two of them, they're both some of their most visible guys. They're trying to do something with Private Party. They're trying to do something with Wheeler Yuta. So they're trying in terms of trying to make new stars. The problem is nobody in AEW knows how to evaluate talent. Because if they did know how to evaluate talent, Daniel Garcia and Wheeler Yuta would not be on the list of young guys we're trying to build our company around. They wouldn't be anywhere near it, and neither would Sammy Guevara. Sometimes your problem is not the booking, it's talent evaluation. Oh, we want to push young stars. That doesn't mean you find the bummiest young guy you can find and decide we're going to make you a champion. It won't work. How about a young guy people believe in? So there's a lot of negativity around this Dave Meltzer quote. I want to read a couple of more because I think they're kind of interesting. TNA brought those guys in because, hey, who gives a fuck if this sucks? We get a short burst of WWE clout, while AEW has come into its own in 5 years and doesn't necessarily need that clout. And when they bring in older guys, they usually have a whole ass career renaissance. Who's having a career renaissance? I guess Christian is. Is Edge? No. Jericho? I get back to you on that. I don't want to put forth too much effort into the Jericho thing. I guess Samoa Joe has. Samoa Joe came in and he did a really great job. Danielson, not really. He was just kind of consistently the same Danielson he was before. Punk's big return was great for a while. And then it kind of fizzled out because that's typically what happens. Paige, Saraya, did she have a career resurgence? No. Did Mercedes? No. And I'm not talking about Mercedes as if she's like Christian or Edge. She's not that old. But she's like in her early 30s. But she's been around for a while. So when you say that getting a short burst of WWE clout, that kind of has been what AEW has done. When they brought in Jon Moxley, that's what that was about. When they brought in these guys, when they created the Undisputed Kingdom, so that they could try to capitalize on Undisputed Era, that's what that was about. AEW is no different than TNA. The only difference, they didn't put the fucking belt on Rhino. I just want to let that hang. TNA put their world title on Rhino at their biggest pay-per-view of the year. And we wonder why TNA is in the position that they're in. Some people are stumbling across like, Rhino, why are you dissing Rhino? Because he sucks, that's why. Alright, so let's wrap this thing up. I get what the AEW fanboys are saying. I also understand what Meltzer is saying. Generally speaking, I do want to see the young guys go over if the older guy is very, very established. Shelton Benjamin is super established. He's being brought in to put a young guy over. But that young guy is not Lio Rush, which it probably should be. And that young guy is not Sammy Guevara. And it certainly does not need to be. That young guy is Swerve Strickland. That's who he's being brought in to put over. And that's who he's going to put over. Now, if he beats Swerve, we can revisit this. But just a couple of weeks ago, when Jey Uso beat Braun Breaker, I lost my mind. But it was mostly because that Braun Breaker had not really had a chance to establish himself. And the fact that they booked him like shit to lose to Sami Zayn. All right. That was not my favorite idea. That was a 100% booking decisions that were bad for the product and bad for the talent. When Tiffany Stratton is out there losing to Bayley, I was like, what the hell? Why the hell is Tiffany Stratton losing to Bayley? Because you don't have to do that, for starters. Secondly, it doesn't lead anywhere. Those are the jobs we should be complaining about. When it doesn't lead anywhere. There was no reason for Tiffany Stratton to lose to Bayley. There was no real reason for Braun Breaker to lose to Sami Zayn. There's no real reason for any of this shit. There's at least a reason behind Sammy Guevara being fed to Shelton Benjamin. Sammy Guevara is trying to work his way back into the heart of Tony Khan. He's trying to wrestle his way back into Tony Khan's heart. Unfortunately, Sammy Guevara cannot wrestle. Doubly bad because he has no charisma. And he has no personality. I'm just going to keep ripping Sammy Guevara. I need to wrap this up. So, what do you guys think? Let me know what you think. And I'll talk to you guys later.
No one doesn't matter.